Happy New Year, everyone! I am Alfredo Sosa, Director of Photography at the Christian Science Monitor. The year 2020 started like any other. Normally, there is a sense of excitement in the air. We look forward to new travels, adventures, new people we're gonna meet. As journalists, we strive to be neutral, to stay out of the story. But I must confess that a lot of these stories become a small part of us. And I like to think that with time, we become a better person for it. And that's why I love our job. I kicked off 2020 with a trip to Estonia. Traveling by myself in a place that I knew nothing about was very intense and rewarding. There, I learned how a small nation can stand up to its giant neighbor and fight Russian misinformation.
When writer Sarah Yana and I headed to Brazil last February, we were more concerned about rainforest mosquitoes and bedbugs than a pandemic. The translator and I teased Sarah about the bug-repellent clothing she'd bought. We drove 8 hours up into Mato Grosso state to interview ranchers who were saving parts of the slowly vanishing rainforest. We got to see a huge sumauma tree. I'd never seen a tree so tall and wide. Things seemed normal. But when we were leaving the country, officials at passport control were wearing masks, and the pandemic was all over the news. I thought this was going to be my first trip of the year, but it turned out to be the only one.
In spring, the pandemic had grounded us. However, by the summer, it was obvious that there was one story that could not be left alone. The Black Lives Matter movement forced us to look into the inequalities built into our society.
Things were looking a little bleak when I first arrived in Kenosha. It was just a few days after the shooting of Jacob Blake. There were businesses that were boarded up, there were some that were burned, and there was a curfew over the city. And it was under that cloud of tension and fear that I began to work. I was pulling out my camera bags when I heard a voice yell out, "Hey, are you with the media?" I turned around to see 2 men walking my way, and one of the men pointed a finger at his friend over his shoulder and said, "Hey, you should do a story on my friend Nick. He's running for local office for the first time, and he's going to change Kenosha." His friend Nicholas Dennis looked a little sheepish at his antics, but I just laughed and told him that he had the perfect press officer worked out for his campaign. It was at that time that I started to notice small signs of a city that was working to knit itself back together. And I was inspired to do some stories on people who were painting murals, organizing peaceful protests, and donating their time and money. I have to say, in a particularly difficult year, it was really inspiring to see the ways in which people were trying to fight inequity and injustice in ways big and small.
Photography is a process that requires proximity, immersion, interaction. Therefore, for safety reasons, our department decided not to travel or participate in political mass gatherings. But we still found ways to visit with our subjects and bring additional humanity to our stories.
Each photo assignment I've had during this unusual time involves a discussion about safety with my subjects. Do they feel safe having me come inside their home or business? Do they feel safe taking off their mask for a photograph? I'd been quarantined at home for weeks when I headed out to one of my first assignments about homeschooling. I was going to meet a mother and her son. We agreed, in order to feel safe, that I would walk around into their backyard and photograph through their porch door into their dining room as the mom was helping her son with online schooling. This was a first for me. I gradually became more comfortable going out into the world again. My first airplane trip was to Denver with my writer husband to report on the RV craze. Logan Airport was empty, but we were shocked to find the Denver airport packed. But we got our RV and we nicknamed her Maybelle, and the trip was a dream. I felt safe in our mobile hotel room, complete with a kitchen and bathroom. We soaked in the vistas out west after being stuck at home. I know we all look forward to when we can gather and travel again.
The pandemic disrupted our lives for sure, but it also gave us the opportunity to reflect on what's important to us and what we truly value in life. It made me realize how important personal interactions are, and I hope that it will bring us closer together.